that's the name of the game. Keep running, keep striving, maintain the same hunger, that fire, that burning desire. In this long run, I'm reaching higher now. Long run, yeah, a long game. Through the struggle, through the pain, I keep my eyes on the prize. Never lose sight in this marathon of life. I'm running through the night.
What's up? What's up? What's up with you? Good morning, Roll Tide to everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the morning run with Piano Man. And it's a special day here. We coming to the end of our summer series. Good morning, Latoya, Roll Tide. Big dog gotta eat what the business is. Good to see you, my man. Stephen Hicks, the one, the only. 39 days and we rolling player. Yeah, Roll Tide. Hey, Gwen. Good morning, Gwen. Gwen. I'll talk to you later. Good morning, Latoya. Dwight, 6 Saturdays away. Man, we got a special show. I am not going to prolong the time. I got somebody special that I'm bringing to the stage right about now. Man, this dude here, this guy right here. When I first met him, and thankful for Amber, who kind of introduced us and everything. But I'm bringing to the stage a guy who is a diehard Michigan guy. This dude here, what's up? Say hello.
What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me on your show.
Unleashed. Hey man, thank you for coming.
No problem.
And listen,
excited.
Y'all, I have been trying to get Jacob to get on my show for the longest time, and we just keep missing each other and all that kind of stuff and everything. But we finally got Jacob. Underwood Unleashed. Man, good morning. Thank you for coming. Now, Jacob, we're gonna hop right to it, because bro, I got a lot of questions for you, man. And
all right,
and
sounds good.
And listen, this is the crew. It's going to get bigger here in a minute, but I got some Bama fans, some Tennessee fans, some Georgia fans. There is an Ohio State sympathizer in I got some real, he's a real Michigan guy, but he's a good dude. Feel free, Jacob, to answer any question if we see him in the chat, big dog, because everything Piano Man don't see him all the time. But I do have mods and everything. Nobody's going to get stupid on us. There's Coach Carl, and Coach Carl is one of the ones yesterday who told me, he said, Michigan is going to be good this year. So he's a Bama guy, but he gives props. So we're Bama fans, but we're not delusional, okay? And I know you're not, but Jacob, tell us a little bit about yourself, bro.
Yeah, so I've lived in Michigan my whole life. I'm 27 right now. I'm about to be 28 here in December. Lived in Michigan my whole life. Pretty much started watching Michigan football when I was about 4 or 5 years old with my dad. Back Chad Henne days, Mike Hart. Those were some of the first guys I remember watching. Mario Manningham. And just really pretty much fell in love with the sport and been watching it ever since. And really don't miss a game at all. So, pretty much just a diehard Michigan fan, but also I watch all the college football too.
Yep, me too, man. Me too. And shout out to the big December folks. There's some good people born in December. Me, Jesus. Quite a few of us, man, born in December.
For sure.
Jesus will tell you, some good people born in December. Don't sleep on the December birthdays. And one request I make, Jacob, I'm gonna make it for December babies everywhere. For those of us that were born in December, don't put our birthday present and our Christmas present together. We were not born on Christmas. We were born in December.
My birthday is the 22nd, so yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, mine is the 17th. So don't come here with that foolishness, And there's some more people in the chat. We born it, and everything. Big dog gotta eat. I'll throw some in the chat. Jacob, here we go. Grew up in Michigan. Well, I got my degree from Tennessee. Have to support the Vols, but hey, he's grew up in Michigan. And so, hey, there you go, Jacob. You know, so we got all kinds, brother. We have a lot of people from all over the United States. So Michigan, there's your homeboy right there. Even though he's a Vols fan, God forgive sin still, but you know. But he grew up in Michigan.
That's cool.
And yeah, grew up in Michigan. But but Jacob, what part of Michigan are you know?
Up by northern Michigan, up about, if you're familiar with Michigan, about an hour south of the Mackinac Bridge.
Okay.
So
okay.
More northern Michigan.
Okay. Like would that how, let me see, northern. Would that be like Ypsilanti area?
No, north of that. Ypsilanti is about it's pretty close to Ann Arbor, actually. So you got to think about 3 hours north of that.
Oh, wow.
Ypsilanti's down pretty far down south. That's right by Ann Arbor, actually.
See, when I say north, now you got to think about, I'm in Mississippi, Jacob.
Yeah.
So everything going up is north for me. You see what I'm saying? It's north for me, but
so I'm about 3 hours north of Ann Arbor.
Okay, cool.
So
cool. And we see Amber Nicole is up in here. You know, hey Amber.
Yep.
Now don't get crazy on us, Amber. We know how crazy you can get. Me, Jacob, and I, we already know what the business is. So don't start. We know, Amber. We know nothing but the tide. We know. But Jacob, let me just get right to it, bro. Who's your favorite player out of all time?
Man, that's a tough question. Probably Mike Sainer still.
Okay.
And he's a guy that stuck with Michigan, through a lot of hard times. He ended up transferring positions from receiver to defense, and then obviously he was such a huge part of that national championship team, and he just was a guy that always made huge plays. And he was a super good, humble dude. He actually did like some YouTube videos and some content too, and he's just like a really good dude. And I've been following him even now that he's in the NFL with the Commanders. And yeah, he just is such a good dude and a good player. So he was so easy to root for. So I'd probably say him, or if I'm going back farther, probably trying to think from when I was a kid, Denard Robinson was fun to watch.
Yeah, man. He was on the front of one of the college football games one year. I remember he was on the front, he was on the cover and everything. And me and my son would sit down and play it. I used to wear my son out in that, man. And but now I'm gonna tell you this. I've been an Alabama fan all my life. All my life I've been a Bama fan, Jacob. But I have appreciated Michigan. I really appreciate. I'm not a big fan of Michigan, but I appreciate Michigan and what they brought to the table, and things like that year after year. And but I'm gonna take you back, because I know you're just in your 20s. But you said I was about to say, see, Coach Carl, how could not say he said Charles Woodson, but you got to remember, Coach, Jacobs is on the young side.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That was 97 was the year I was born. So when Michigan won that championship, that's the year I was born. So, my dad tells me a lot about that team and that season, but I didn't get to see it for myself.
Yeah, man. And so when you're dealing with, when you're dealing with some of us old schoolers, Jacob, we'll take you back a ways, bro. And like with me, when I remember Michigan, I'm going to even go back further than Charles Woodson. I don't know if your dad ever talked about. I can remember coming in the days of Bo Schembechler when he and Woody Hayes would go at it and everything during that time. First of all, shout out to 15 y'all in the chat, and I thought I saw KT, so I can say what the business is. You know what the business is, KT. What's up, Jermaine? Steven, 39 days, and we rolling, everybody. But I'm going to go back in the day, Jacob, when I deal with Michigan, man, I can remember a guy named Anthony Carter. They called him AC back in the day. Anthony Carter. I remember when Tom Brady played.
Yep.
I remember, you said Chad Henne.
Yep.
I remember
Chad
the
Henne
guy.
is probably those are probably my first really core memories of watching Michigan with like Chad Henne, Mike Hart. Probably
Yeah,
about maybe 05-ish, I would say.
yeah, yeah. And so when I go back, even like a guy named Harlan Huckabee, I remember A-Train, Anthony Thomas. That doggone Anthony Thomas could run the hell out of a football, man. That dude was bad. Go look
Yeah.
him up. They called him the A-Train. Of course, Desmond Howard.
Oh, yeah.
Man, Michigan has produced players, and one of my favorite pro players right now that came out of Michigan is your boy that got hurt for the Lions with the ACL. Amber was talking about him here a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember his name. Kurt, not Kurt. You know who I'm talking about.
Are you talking about Hutchinson?
Hutchinson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Hutchinson
Hutchinson was
is a
tearing it
beast,
up.
man.
Yeah. He was tearing it up, yeah.
Yeah, man, Hutchinson was a beast. And
Yeah.
so good morning, Anitra, Angela. Good morning, all of you all. Roll Tide. I want y'all to meet my friend Jacob, a staunch Michigan fan, good guy. And I'm proud. And I just want to say thank you, Jacob, for allowing me to be in all of the groups that you're in. Man, we had a good
man, no
conversation. Forgive me for leaving the group last night, man. I was hungry, man. Y'all talked me up on a
Oh,
hunger.
you're good.
On a
Like I
hunger
said, I
thing.
appreciate you having me on. I'm really just getting into podcasting. This is only the second show I've ever been on. So I did see one comment in the chat. Some guy, let me try to find it. He said that he used to go to Grayling. That's only about 30 minutes away from where I live, so that's pretty cool.
Let me see if I can find it for you there, bro. Right quick.
Oh, right here. Big Dog's Got to Eat. He said he used to go to Camp Grayling. That's only about 30 minutes away from where I live, so that's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. See, and that's why I said, man, I'm thankful for podcasting, Jacob, because it brings me closer to people and that I normally would not meet and everything. But so Jacob, about Michigan, bro, and like I said, I got a bunch of questions here. In the SEC, we all know about Bama, we all know about Georgia, we know about Texas, we know about LSU, Oklahoma. But in the Big Ten, it's like there's a different spin to it. Basically, all you hear is Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State. And we know that, Jacob, that's the game at the end of the year. That's the rivalry, that everybody knows about, right? But when you're dealing with the SEC week in and week out, as well as every other college football fan knows, we beat up on each other. And we're that conference that'll knock each other out of a playoff picture, appearance and all that good stuff, right? So the way that the playoffs are set up now, just dealing with the Big Ten, like I said, in the SEC, you got you got Bama, LSU, Georgia, Texas. Okay, let's just say that's your big four. In the Big Ten, it's basically Michigan, Ohio State. Who rounds that out, Jacob? Who rounds that out, man?
This year, I actually think this year the best team in the Big Ten, like from a roster perspective, is Penn State. If you look at their roster, but they returned both their running backs. They had a really good running back duo with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. They brought back Drew Aller. I mean, their offensive line is going to be really good. They should, from a roster perspective, probably win the Big Ten and be right there for a national championship. But it's really hard to trust James Franklin. James Franklin is that guy that he always seems to lose the big game to Ohio State or Michigan, or he lost to Notre Dame in the playoffs last year. They did get Jim Knowles from Ohio State, the defensive coordinator. So their coordinators are both really good, and they have a really good roster on paper. I think they have one of the best rosters. But like I said, it's really hard to trust James Franklin. But I definitely think they'll be in the playoffs this year. Their schedule isn't too bad. Their hardest games, they do play Oregon at home, and then they play at Ohio State. So even if they did somehow lose both of those two, they should still go 10-2 and make the playoffs. So, for some of you guys that mostly follow the SEC, Penn State should be pretty good this year. And then a lot of people are also talking about Oregon, but I think they're going to take a step back. I was looking at Oregon's roster. They lost like 17 starters from last season.
Okay.
They lost pretty much their whole offense besides one offensive lineman, and then they also lost 7 starters on defense. So Oregon should be good. They've been recruiting at a really high level with the portal and out of high school, obviously. But yeah, it's hard, man. If you lose 17 starters, it's hard and crazy to think you're not going to take a step back. They lost their quarterback. They lost their top 3 receivers. Now that Evan Stewart is out for the season with that injury, they lost Trayshawn Holden, and then they also lost Tez Johnson. So Oregon should be good. They have a lot of talent, but I think they're going to take a step back. And then the wild card, like you were saying, is really Michigan. I think we're plus 225 to make the playoffs. So a bit of a underdog to make the playoffs according to Vegas, but I think it's really all going to come down to Bryce Underwood and how good he is right off the bat.
Yeah. So Underwood is going to be the starter this year?
Yeah, from everything I've seen and I've heard, we don't have many options. We did bring in Mikey Keene, a transfer from Fresno State, but he's already been dealing with an injury. So it looks like Bryce Underwood is just going to be the guy from game number 1.
Now, Jacob, here we go. The Ohio State person is here. Here she is. She's also her son is she has a son who plays for Alabama. I want you to meet Ebony. Ebony, this is Jacob. Now you see what she said. No one is beating Ohio but the Tide. And now I'm gonna say this, Ebony. They kind of own y'all. They kind of own Ohio State right about now. Just like now, let me say this, Jacob, before you say anything. I will be the first to go on record and say this makes me so uncomfortable, but it is what it is. This dude's team has Ebony, Ohio State, and Alabama got something in common. We can't beat them. We can't beat them. I mean, come on now. So nobody's beating Ohio but the Tide, but you might want to run that by Michigan. How many years in a row has it been? 4?
Yeah, 4, yeah.
4. So, happy motoring. Happy motoring. But that's Ebony, man. And so she's saying cheaters and everything. I knew that was coming up and everything. We're going to talk about that, Jacob, on a we're gonna talk about that for just a minute. You've heard me say, Jacob. Amber has heard me say it. They're allegations. I understand that they're accusations, but I'm one of these type guys from the old school. If something was really there, if something is really there, I think they would have done something about it by now, or something. So, but we're gonna talk about that going toward the end. But you're saying that Penn State. Let's go back because we're gonna talk Michigan. We're gonna talk about Big Ten. Let's talk Big Ten for a minute. This is Penn State's opportunity, and I saw Amber put that in the chat. This is going to be their opportunity, but then you made the statement about not having trust in James Franklin. What is it that he's doing wrong? What happens? What happens with them? Because a couple of years ago, they had Ohio State right where they wanted them and completely lost it.
Yeah, so the last few years they've had so many opportunities to win big games. Like before the Big Ten expanded, they were in the same division as Ohio State and Michigan, so they played us both every year. And like in 2023, they lost to Ohio. 2022 and 2023, they lost to both Ohio State and Michigan, and 2021. And then 2023, if you remember, was the game where they suspended Jim Harbaugh in midair on the flight to Happy Valley. So we went into that game without our head coach, and That was the game, if you remember, Michigan ran the ball on them 32 straight times, and they just couldn't stop us. So every year, it's like Penn State. It's hard. It's hard. They're in a hard spot because they win pretty much every game like they're supposed to win. But then when it comes to Ohio State or Michigan or a team with equal talent like Notre Dame, they lose. So they're almost in the worst spot where it's like they don't really want to fire James Franklin, but he can't get over the hump, and that's
Yeah.
kind of the worst place to be in. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, this is their year. I think they returned 17 seniors. They have a really good team. Like I said, on paper, if you just look at the roster, I think they're right up there with Texas. Clemson, I think, is going to be really good this year. They bring back a lot of talent, but James Franklin has to do it, and he has to prove it. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. It's hard to trust the guy to do something that he's never done before.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, this is the same. And one of the guys put it in the chat. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show this right now. Big Dog put it in there, and this is a true fact. Didn't James Franklin coach Vandy to a 9-win season? If he can do that, he can do anything. But it's like he gets to the big games here at Penn State, and he chokes every time.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is fair. Yeah. And James Franklin did win the Big Ten one time. I think it was 2016. So we're getting almost up to a decade now. That was almost 10 years ago now. But yeah, I do agree somewhat with that sentiment, because if you think about it, the same thing was said about Jim Harbaugh for the longest time. He couldn't win the big game. You know, there was all those narratives about Harbaugh, and sometimes even Ryan Day before last year, Ryan Day had question marks about the big game. And, you know, people always say you can't do it until you do it. So James Franklin certainly could do it this year, but man, for me, he's not a guy that I'm going to bet on, or, you know, I'm not going to put a lot of trust in him, but he does certainly have the team. And I think if he's ever going to do it, it needs to be this year, like I said, because they brought back such a good team, like 17 seniors. So if Penn State doesn't do it this year, I don't know. I don't think they're ever going to do it.
It's just like, and I know that Mr. P and DSGB84 will appreciate this, what I'm about to say. I'm going to liken that to here a couple of years ago when Georgia won their natty and everything. And me and my little brother said that if Georgia didn't do it right then, Georgia would never get it done. And there comes points in times when you've got the right team, you got the right squad, you have the right personnel, you have the right situation, you've got the right setup, everything will favor you. You know what I'm saying? And you're saying that Penn State has the right roster to do whatever it is that needs to be done. But if you look at Penn State's schedule, let me put where my Bible. Hold up. My monitor. I got to get my other monitor going, but let me pull my Bible out. Here go Athlon and Lindy's right here, Jacob. So I'm not just blowing smoke, bro. When you look at Lindy's here now, they've got their predicted order of finish. And I'm gonna start with 18 and work my way up. Number 18, they have Purdue. Number 17, Northwestern. 16, Rutgers. 15, Maryland. 14, Michigan State. 13th, UCLA. 12th, Wisconsin. So Bama, that's who, they've got Wisconsin picked to finish 12th. Minnesota 11th, Iowa 10th. They've got Iowa 10th. Indiana 9th. Wow. Washington 8th, USC 7th, Nebraska 6th, Illinois 5th, Michigan 4th, Oregon 3rd, Ohio State 2nd, and Penn State to finish 1st. Now, when we look at you're saying, let's look at their paper. Let's look at their roster right quick. This is not the one that I was looking for, but anyway, this will have to do right now. Their primary strength, according to Lindy's right here, the primary strength of Jacob is the offense has the best backfield in the country. Now, I'm going to take issue with that one. I'm going to have to take issue with that. Wait a minute. Let me pull my other Bible out. Hold up, because it gives me more of what I want, what I need right here. Wait a minute. Here we go. Now this is Athlons. Let me find something here. Here we go. Now they've got they've got Penn State picked to win too. But here we go. Yeah, here we are. Now, here's their depth chart. They have, according to Athlons, Penn State has 7 coming back on offense. And Drew Shelton. Now you tell me, you stop me when you hear somebody familiar there. But their wideouts are Devontae Ross, Kyron Hudson, Trevor Pina, and then
those 3 guys all right there. I'm pretty sure they got all 3 of them from the portal. Hudson, I believe, was at USC. Pena is the guy they got from Syracuse. And Ross, I'm not sure, but yeah, that was Penn State's weakness, really, their receiving room, and they really went out and bolstered it. So I think, I believe they got all 3 of those guys from the portal, and so they don't really have a huge weakness on paper, but like I said, their real weakness is just their head coach.
And then Drew Aller, Aller, the quarterback, and then like I said, Nick Singleton. And then they have Grunkenmeyer, it's the backup quarterback, and Katron Allen is the running back.
Yep.
And the reason that I'm taking issue with the statement that Lindy made about the best running backs in the country. Now I'm gonna say this, and not that I'm a homer or anything, but it's gonna be hard to top Jam Miller, A.K. Deere, Richard Young, Daniel Hill from Alabama. That's gonna be hard to top. I'm just saying. I've watched Penn State. Like you said, I watch college football, and Penn State, man, is okay. I give them that. I'll give them that. This is their best opportunity to do what needs to be done. But when you begin to start breaking down the paper, they may be good on paper, but I still believe that in certain areas, though, Jacob, I still don't see them matching up. Okay, if they had to play Alabama today, now this is just Wendell's opinion now. If they had to play Alabama today, I'm still of the firm persuasion. Like right now, Alabama's roster would hurt Penn State. I believe that.
Yeah, I could see that. Penn State, they're not a team that I'm picking to win really anything. I could maybe see them winning the Big Ten, but I'm not I'm not picking them to win the national championship or anything like that. Like I said, I cannot trust them. But I know a lot of people are high on them this year, and like I said, for a pretty good reason. They do have the roster to do it, but it's like it's so hard to trust a team like that,
Yeah. And so when you look at their defense, you got 7 coming back on offense, and you got 5 coming back on defense. And their highlighted players are Danny Dennis Sutton, Zane Durant, Tony Rojas, AJ Harris. Those are your linebackers, cornerback, and Zakee Wheatley. Now I'm wondering, is Wheatley any kin to Tyrone Wheatley?
That I don't know, but I was going to mention Dennis Sutton. He's a very good player. He's a guy to watch this year. He's not going to be an Abdul Carter, obviously. It's hard to replace a guy like that, but Dennis Sutton is a very good player in his own right. So he's a guy that everyone could just keep an eye on this year. He's fun to watch. He can bend around the edge. He has speed to power. He's really good. He's a really good edge rusher.
Yeah. Now, Coach Carl said, Piano, I think coming into the season, Penn State has the best running backs in the country. Okay, I like I said, everybody's entitled to that opinion. I
think they have the most proven running backs, but like you said, if you're projecting Alabama's to be better, that's totally fine, I think, too. But I think just coming into the season with what they've proven, yeah, probably Penn State. But Alabama's could be better. They could be.
Yeah. So I believe that as a room, as a running back room, the room full of running backs, I don't think that you can take too much. You can't take that away from Alabama with what they have. Now, I know a lot of people might say you're joking, but no, I'm not joking. Alabama has some good running backs. I watched Penn State some and everything, because I'm gonna get to Michigan in just a second. I watched Penn State some, but their running backs really did not impress me. I'm just calling it from what I'm seeing. Now Penn State's defense did. Their defense did.
They had a good defense last year.
They had a good defense.
Yeah.
But now their running backs, don't, their running backs were not all that impressive to me. And their wideouts were pretty good, but they just didn't have Alero just was not consistent for me. And now they're singing his praises. They're singing his praises, but their final analysis, according to Athlon right here, Jacob, and you tell me, and we're gonna go to Michigan in just a second. Franklin has been all in on building a national championship team at Penn State since 2014. So this is what, 11 years now?
Yeah, he's been there a long time.
Yes. And so you're still building this product. He finally has the horsepower to do it. Athletic director Dr. Patrick Kraft is willing to fund a contender. He even suggested over the winter that Penn State needed to find another transfer receiver. Every offseason move Penn State made hinged on winning a title. This season represents the team's best chance so far under Franklin, and that's what Amber just said.
I know, I agree with that for sure. This is their best chance. Like I said, they're losing after this year, they're going to lose a lot. So if Penn State's ever going to, it kind of reminds me of Michigan 2 years ago. It felt like that was our last chance. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It felt like that 2023, even before the season. I remember Blake Corum went to a basketball game in like February and said it was natty or bust, nothing else was acceptable, and obviously he ended up following through and bringing it home. But I feel like it's the same way for Penn State this year. I feel like they got to do it this year.
They got to do it. So we're going to see. Time will tell. Well, let's look at Michigan right quick. And everyone that's just coming into the chat, this is my friend Jacob from Underwood Unleashed Sports and everything. Big Michigan guru, loves the Michigan Wolverines, and I respect him for that. But he's a good brother. He's a good friend. And I was introduced to him by our friend Amber Nicole and everything. And we all love Amber. And Amber's a true Alabama fan. And I'm not going no further than that.
I kind of hope we play you guys again this year.
Say what now?
I said I kind of hope we match up with you guys in the playoffs again this year. It's been fun the last couple of years.
Stranger things have happened, Jacob. Strange things, and I just believe that this is going to be a year of strange things that's going to happen. But shout out to Nero, all of y'all. Big Dog got to eat Bama in 2025. Good to see you. I thought I saw Nicole come in. Good to see you. Anitra again. All of you all that's in the chat. 29 of you all in the chat. Good morning. Coach Carl, who had to go to who's on his way to a conference this morning. Coach Carl, good to see you. Everybody that's in the chat, good morning. And Roll Tide. And I saw Mr. P, DSG 80, DSGB 84. There's Amber again, Big Dog, everybody. Big, it gets crazy over here sometimes, Jacob. So forgive Piano Man. I just try to say hello to my public. I love them. They know I do. And everything.
I was reading some of the comments.
I love my folks.
I was reading some of the comments. Yeah, pretty funny.
Hey, Jacob, Amber still hollering at what she was talking last night. Bring them to T-Town.
Yeah, I don't think she wants to play Michigan again for a while.
Listen, to all listeners, lookers, and lurkers, saints, ain'ts, and friends, hit the like button, please, and all that kind of stuff. And there's Double A. There she is. Good morning, Double A. Good morning to Gwen. Good morning to Steven. Steven, 39 days, and we rolling, man. We playing Florida State, Jacob. And, man, we're excited over here. College football is about to start.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's going to be a
man.
great week 1 slate of games. I cannot wait for that. You got Ohio State, Texas at noon, and then you got Alabama, Florida State right after that, and then you got LSU and Clemson, and then Michigan, obviously, at night. I mean, I know they're not playing a huge game week 1, but it'll still be good to watch.
Good morning, Michelle. Coach Carl is getting his degree, Jacob, in criminal justice at his last day of school, so he's on that track. And
that's actually cool. I got my degree in criminal justice also.
Yeah, and Jacob, and I'm finishing up as well in criminal justice.
Really?
Coach Carl's
That's cool.
emphasis is basically in the psychological side of things. What's yours?
That's cool. Mine was just like a generalist, but I used to I got my bachelor's in criminal justice, and then I used to work at prison as a corrections officer for a while, but I ended up moving, and now I do some other stuff. But yeah, I was in criminal justice also, and yeah, it's a really cool field. I recommend it to anybody.
And mine is my emphasis is in investigations, and so I'm finishing up hopefully this year. Here in the next few weeks, hopefully, and let's just make it happen. So here's another criminal justice, Coach Carl. So we just we just having fun with this criminal justice thing. But there was Michigan, on the other hand, your depth chart looks like this, and you know it better than me, Jacob. But Huggy Beard, what's up, Brett? What's up, player? What's up? Huggy is an Auburn fan. Jacob is a Michigan fan. He's Auburn. We respect him. We try to get him help and all that kind of stuff. But man, what's up, Jacob? Michelle, what's up? What's up, Michelle? Good to see you. Good to see you. But y'all's depth chart, you have 3 coming back on offense with Evan Link, Giovanni El Haddai, and Greg Crippen and everything. Yep. But Michigan, man, I ain't paying no attention to that, Jake. I'm not paying any attention to that. No. See, when you listen, Michigan beat Alabama twice in the same year. Ain't no sense in running from that. Ain't no sense in trying to hide from it, trying to tiptoe around it. Let's face the proverbial elephant in the room. Michigan beat Alabama twice in the same year. Yes, you did. So now that we got that out the way, I'm reading this depth chart, but I'm not buying one word of it. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry, Jacob. You get no sympathy from me. I'm not buying it. Why? Michigan has this way of taking whatever it is they have going on, and it may be negative, and they'll come up and beat Ohio State. And I'm talking about to have beat them to the point to have Ohio State fighting at the end of the game. I'll be like, yeah, what? So let's talk about let's talk about your depth chart. Let's start with Bryce Underwood, the $10 million man. Tell us more about it.
All right, yeah. So basically, a lot of people don't know, but Bryce Underwood really always wanted to play for Michigan, but he did not. He didn't like Jim Harbaugh very much. He didn't have a very good connection with Jim Harbaugh for whatever reason. His high school, I follow a lot of high school football in Michigan too, and his high school coach at Belleville didn't really like Jim Harbaugh. They had some beef going back about like camps and all types of stuff, and that coach was actually stopping a lot of his players from coming to Michigan. And then obviously Jim Harbaugh moved on to the NFL, and then Sharon Moore tried to, build that connection. And even though it was pretty late at the time, it was already Bryce Underwood's senior season in high school. And then, Michigan did get a lot of donors together and boosters, and Larry Ellison, he's like the richest dude in the world. He's been helping Michigan. And then, it all came together perfectly. And I always joke around, but it is serious. I always give a shout out to Alabama for helping us get Bryce Underwood, because that game last year at LSU, you guys put a beating on them. And Bryce Underwood was actually at his visit at that game, and he actually left early. You guys ruined the day for him, so that was awesome. And it really helped us get him. But yeah, Bryce Underwood is a 5-star all everything, one of the highest rated recruits since like Trevor Lawrence. Quinn Ewers was up there. Obviously, he was a little underwhelming in college, but
Yeah.
Bryce Underwood has all the talent in the world. It's just going to be about him adjusting to the college level mentally. He's already there, I think. I mean, he's about 6'5", 230 pounds. It's just going to be about the game slowing down for him mentally. And yeah, I think he's going to be really good. And in our offense, we're not going to ask him to do too much. We have a good running attack with Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall. And like always, Michigan's going to be known for their defense. So as long as we can play just complimentary and take care of the ball and not ask him to do too much, I think he should be really good right off the bat.
Yeah, you're looking at your defense, and speaking of your defense, according to Athlon, y'all have 6 returning starters on defense, and it's like with Derek Moore, Ernest Hausman, Jashawn Barham, Jair Hill, Zeke Berry, and Rod Moore. And so y'all, and they are in some of your key areas right there, Jacob. So Michigan still looks, Michigan is going to be Michigan. That's what Coach Carl was saying yesterday, that he still believes Michigan is going to be very good. They're still going to be very good, despite all of the this, that, and the third that's happening with them. According to the media, now I got to throw that disclaimer in there. According to the media, this is what's happening with them. But Michigan is still very good. So let's look at your schedule right quick, Jacob, because I wanted to get to this. We know that you play New Mexico the first game. We got that. But let's talk about game 2.
Yep.
You're going to Norman, Oklahoma. You're going to Norman. Let's talk about that game. It's going to be Bryce Underwood versus John Mateer. Take it away, Jake.
All right. So, yeah, that's really, if you look at our schedule, it's a pretty favorable schedule, but there are 3 tricky road games like Oklahoma and then Nebraska and USC. So, yeah, for me, the real turning point, even though it's only week 2, the real game of the season that's going to tell us everything we need to know is at Oklahoma. They're in a similar spot as Michigan with trying to rebuild their offense. Their offense was really bad last year too. They brought in a new quarterback also, John Mateer. They brought in Jaden Ott, All-American running back. So they're trying to do the same thing as Michigan, revamp their offense, and they also have a pretty good defense. That's a game that has me worried just because it'll be Bryce Underwood's first road start. And it's a primetime game. It's an ABC night game. It's going to be a crazy environment. And Brett Venables is known as one of the best defensive coordinators, or now he's a head coach, but one of the best defensive minds in all of college football. So having a true freshman start that game is a little it's scary. I'm not going to lie, but I just think that if we can establish the run and just play how Michigan plays, really, like I said, complementary, protect the ball, let our defense create offense for us like we've done so many times, I think we can grind out a win. And if we can win that game, I think the season's really going to be looking good. But it's a game that I have said Michigan, I think, probably might lose. I had us going 10-2 or 9-3 this year, but if we can find a way to win that game, I think really look out for us because after that our schedule is pretty favorable.
Gotcha. Bama in 2025 asked me yesterday, and I'm going to take the time to do it right now, about the Oklahoma depth chart. Now, Oklahoma has 5 returning on offense and 6 returning on the defense. And on the offense, one of their returners is Deion Burks, who is a wide receiver. Also, Heath Ozetta, left guard. Troy Everett, the center, and I can't pronounce this guy's name, and he's a right guard, along with a guy named Jacob Sexton, who's the right tackle. Both he and a guy named Derek Simmons, who are both seniors. Now we all know that John Mateer, Jaden Ott, they got Michael Hawkins, who is the backup quarterback.
Yep.
Now Mateer is a junior, but depending upon his year, he could opt out and probably go to the NFL, depending upon how the year he has. Michael Hawkins is the guy, if I'm not mistaken, he's the guy who helped Oklahoma up. No, my bad, wrong team. He's the guy. It was some game Hawkins played, and he did very well in coming in because I want to say they pulled Jackson Arnold. But
didn't Michael Hawkins play against you guys last year?
No, it was Jackson Arnold.
Okay. Michael Hawkins did end up replacing Jackson Arnold at some point, but I don't remember which game.
Yeah, and so
I saw a really good comment in the chat, though. There was a comment in the chat that said Oklahoma's offensive line is one of the worst, and you can't fix that overnight. I don't think even through the portal, he said, and that's a really good point. I think that if Michigan's going to win this game at Oklahoma, I think that's going to be the area where we do it, because I think Michigan should have one of the best front sevens in all of college football, and Oklahoma's offensive line was their biggest weakness. So that was just a really good point. If Michigan is able to beat Oklahoma, I think we're going to dominate them, especially our defensive line versus their offensive line. So that was just a really good point. Yeah. Because Michigan's front seven should be really good.
Now, and I have to agree with this statement that you all always have this good D-line. I mean, you've always been known for that, Jacob. And I'm of the firm persuasion that this Oklahoma-Michigan game is going to be a battle of the defenses, because it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be. Thank you, Latoya. It was against Tennessee that Hawkins played. That Hawkins played Tennessee. But anyway, it's going to be the battle of the D lines. I believe that in that game right there. And I've told them, Jacob, I've told the chat here a couple of times, the night that we play, Alabama plays ULM is the night that Oklahoma plays Michigan. And I've told everybody to watch that game.
It should be a really good game. Like I said, it's the ABC primetime game of the week, so I'm pumped up for it. I can't wait. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, just an ugly slugfest kind of a game. Both teams are going to be trying to find their offense.
Right.
I could see like 17-13 or 20-17 either way.
Yeah. Real low scoring. And if you are a bettor, and I'm listening to Jacob, and I'm just going to take the liberty of saying this right here. If you are a bettor and there's an over and an under in this game right here, I'm going to take the unders.
Oh, yeah. I'm taking the under, too.
I'll take the
like
unders.
I said, I think it's going to be the first team to 20, or you might not even need 20, 17 maybe. Both defenses are going to be really good, and both offenses are really trying to find their identity with pretty much totally new staffs, new quarterbacks, new everything. So it's going to take a little bit of time for the offenses.
Okay. And so when you look at – so let me go back to your schedule right quick. And so we got Oklahoma, then you have Central Michigan. You go to Nebraska. We all know that Nebraska is not the Nebraska from when I was growing up. That's not the Nebraska anymore. They've lost it all across the way. Wisconsin, y'all, like you said, you go to USC. You play Washington in Ann Arbor. You go to Michigan State. Let me ask you something about that rivalry. That rivalry sort of lost its luster over the years because of your dominance over them. But what has happened with Michigan State?
Yeah, so growing up as a kid, actually, there was a period of time where Michigan State really had the upper hand on Michigan. They had Mark D'Antonio, probably the best coach in their history, at least as long as I remember, he has the best record against Michigan as far as I know. And if you really remember, just going back in time a little bit, Mike Hart, the running back for Michigan, made that comment about the little brother.
Yeah.
It was after the 2007 game, I believe. Michigan came back and ended up winning that game. They made a big comeback, and he made a comment about, it's like playing basketball with your little brother. You let him have a chance, and then you come back and win. And that comment has kind of been just famous ever since. And there was a period of time where Michigan State took the upper hand on us. For many different reasons. Michigan had some bad coaching hires, and Mark D'Antonio was a really good coach there for a while. You guys obviously, as Alabama fans, remember Michigan State made the playoffs and you guys beat them 38-0.
Yeah.
Well, they had some decent teams there for a while. But yeah, ever since I think when Harbaugh really got in there and got things rolling the right way, Michigan State really couldn't keep up. And now they're kind of going through the same thing with different coaches. They obviously had Mel Tucker, the whole situation with him. They had a really good team in 2021 when they had Kenneth Walker. They did beat Michigan, and I think they won 10 games.
Yep.
But then they kind of fell off after that, and now with Jonathan Smith, I think he's a good coach, but it's going to take him some time. So they're in a rebuilding stage right now, but like you guys know about rivalry games, anything can happen, so it's never a game I take lightly because we're their Super Bowl,
Yeah.
And they're going to throw everything in the bag at us.
Alabama's everybody's Super Bowl. I mean, I'm just going to remind everybody that Alabama is everybody's Super Bowl.
Yeah, you guys know how that feels. So
yeah. So you have Michigan State, Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland, and then you beat Ohio State again. I'll just put that out there.
It's at home this year. Which I like.
Yeah, y'all playing
just
them
in general right now. We just have such a mental edge over Ohio State. I think a lot of it is mental at this point. You know how that goes. Just if you can't beat a certain team, it's almost like Georgia and Alabama. I think right now, you guys have just such a mental domination over Georgia. It's almost like they go into the game thinking that they're going to lose against you guys, and I almost feel the same way with Ohio State and Michigan. So hopefully we keep that going. It should be a good game. Ohio State obviously always has a ton of talent. They have probably the best player on offense and defense. But they do have two new coordinators coming in. They have Matt Patricia on defense, and he actually coached the Lions at one point. So a lot of people in Michigan don't like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, their biggest question I think is going to be their quarterback. If Ohio State's quarterback is up to par and as good as they think he is, then Ohio State is going to be a threat right there to probably repeat again. They always have talent, just got to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things about it, Jacob, that I've had to sit down in the off season and just sort of think about as a fan of Alabama. Is me being a good fan also clouding my judgment, like what you just said about you got to be honest about some things.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest that now I'm a Bama fan till my casket drop. I mean, I'm just saying what I'm saying, but I also have to be realistic. I'm just having to be realistic about some stuff. And so I'm going to ask this question here, and this is going to be probably about my last one, I think. As a football fan, as a college football fan, Jacob, we all know about the accusations, the allegations that are hanging over the head of the Michigan football program.
Yeah.
You being a fan of Michigan, a diehard fan, and everything. Where do you see? Because I'm going to give you my take on the whole deal, right quick, before I let you say anything about it, because you're there. You're there. Amber is there. Others that are in Michigan are there. And I know Amber's looking at it from a standpoint of we know how Amber is. Love you, Amber. I'm going to be realistic. Me personally, I don't think that the NCAA is going to do anything to Michigan, but maybe a slap on the wrist. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Now, I don't know what Connor Stalions all this. I know what he's being accused of. I got that part. But can you make those charges stick? Are those charges going to be able to stick? Is there really substantial evidence? Is the evidence really factual? Is it true? Is it whatever? Because here we go. We're getting ready to come into the first part of the season. The season is about to start. Practice for everybody starts like next week.
Yep.
From Jacob's standpoint, what is Michigan's fate as it relates to these allegations? Jim Harbaugh's gone. You won a natty out of all of this. So what's going to happen? What do you see happening?
This is like such a hard, just nuanced topic. I mean, there's so much you have to sift through on social media to find like real information and everything. But from what I can see, I mean, I've seen both ways. I've seen some pretty good sources like, what was it? Pete Thamel came out a while ago and said he didn't think the title would be vacated and he didn't see anything like that happening. But then you see other people say the opposite. So I'm at the point mostly where I just want whatever to happen is going to happen because, like you said, spring practice is coming, fall camp is coming up here soon. In Michigan already suspended Sharon Moore for the third and the fourth game of the season. But there's been some talk that he might be suspended for the first 2 weeks of the season also. The NCAA might add on to that. But I just think in fairness to Michigan, they should let us know that as soon as possible so we can develop a, like a coaching plan for what we're going to do if he is suspended. But I don't think the national title game will get vacated or anything like that just because Michigan went 8-0 when Connor Stalions was suspended. And at least the way I look at it is everyone pretty much had their chance to beat us after the fact. Ohio State had their chance on the field to beat us. Bama had their chance on the field, Washington, and no one was able to do it. So, like I said, I try to be rational about this. I do think Michigan was probably doing some stuff that they weren't supposed to do with Connor Stalions. He took it to a level that we've never seen before, but also, like I know a lot of people I played football in high school, and I know a lot of people that played football said, some people make the signs out to be like everything, and I don't think that's the only reason why Michigan was winning. I've seen people like Deion Sanders come out and say that he didn't think it was that big of a deal, certain coaches, and then there's others on the other side that say it was a huge deal. So, I guess my question to you would be, how much do you think this impacted the game? I mean, I mean, it is a small advantage. It is definitely, we did it for a reason to get a competitive advantage, but there's some people that say this is like the only reason Michigan was winning, and that I do not agree with.
When you talk about the impact of the game and when you're asking me about it, you know what, Jacob, now I'm about to say something, and to everybody in the chat, I'm about to say something. I mean no harm about anything, but I'm just going to say this, and then I'm going to put it out there, and here we go. When it comes down to the impact of the game, I noticed that within the last 15, 20 years, a lot of crazy stuff has basically come from the Big Ten. Crazy stuff that has impacted the game. Let's go back. Let's just deal with Penn State. What's his name? Sandusky. Let's put up. Yeah. Let's call it the Sandusky crisis. Let's call it the Sandusky crisis. That impacted the game for me as far as trust was concerned. That impacted the game for me. It made me. I'm gonna be honest with you. It made me stop watching the game that I didn't want to even watch Penn State play anymore. I did, because to me, God rest Joe Pa's soul, Joe Pa let too much go on and it went unchecked, and a lot of people got hurt about it. Okay. So now you go on down the road, you get that out the way. Sandusky's still in prison, I guess. He's still there and everything, and that set Penn State back a minute. It really did. It set them back. They're just now getting back to prominence to where they're being relevant again. Now this stuff is happening with Michigan. But here's the thing about that, though, Jacob. It hasn't set Michigan back. Michigan has chugged right along and have beaten Ohio State 4 straight years. Look like they might beat them again this year. Has won a natty in the deal, and nothing has done. So when you talk about impact, I think different situations impact different teams in a different ways. It impacts teams differently. Whereas with Penn State, that impacted them from a moral standpoint to where, well, guys didn't want to go play for him anymore. But this here has impacted Michigan in a way to where they're still getting people to come and play. So it goes back to like what the word JB is using, allegedly. There's a lot of allegations going that has yet to be proven. I guess I said all that to say it's all allegations. It's all accusations. And until it gets to be proven, Jacob, we're still going to be in the same spot. Michigan is still going to be the champs. Harbaugh ran off, but he was wanting to get back in the pros anyway. Right. Trying to get back in there anyway. But to me, he left under the wrong circumstances. To me, he should have stayed, saw it all the way through, if there was anything to see through. So it's going to impact the game, but I'm still on the firm belief until somebody proves me different. The NCAA is not going to do anything to the Michigan Wolverines football team. If anything, it'll be a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I've told
Amber this.
I've been a couple different things about this. So I was looking at it compared to Tennessee. You remember a couple of years ago when Tennessee had like 100 violations? They didn't even get a bowl ban, and they had ineligible players. They had a whole bunch of different types of stuff going on than Michigan had, and they didn't even get a bowl ban. Mm-hmm. So I just cannot see Michigan getting a multiple-year bowl ban when Tennessee, I believe, had over like 100 violations. Michigan has 11. So, and there's so many angles to this. Like I've seen, I don't know if you follow Josh Pate at all, but Josh Pate has said like he doesn't think that like the TV networks like Fox and stuff is going to allow that Michigan to be punished as one of their biggest brands that makes a lot of money. So we'll see how that goes. That's another angle to look at it from, just the financial angle of the Big Ten and the TV networks, because Michigan behind Ohio State definitely makes the Big Ten the most money. And then also another interesting theory that I've had that me and Amber have talked about a lot too, if you think about this, right? So Michigan had the meeting with the Committee on Infractions in June. I think it was June 6th or 7th. And then right after that, about the next week, Michigan got on a crazy recruiting heater. So I was thinking, like, if you put the pieces together, I wonder if that means like they kind of found something out that it's not going to be a big hammer. Because why would all these players start committing right after that meeting? And like now with the day and age of the transfer portal, I don't really think that Michigan could lie to, there's not really a reason to lie to people if say nothing's going to happen when something is actually going to happen, because all those players would just hit the portal. So just the timing of it, when Michigan had the meeting with the NCAA and then like a week later, if you look pretty much all throughout June and July, Michigan's really turned up the recruiting. Believe we're top 10 class right now, but the summer has really turned up for the recruiting. So just the timing of it, just an interesting thing to look at that I've been thinking about. So it was just, right after we met with the NCAA and talked about the punishment and everything like that, we started recruiting much better. So that almost makes me feel like maybe no hammer is coming and maybe Michigan could finally tell kids that, but we'll see, I guess. I'm just ready for it to be over with because now
Yeah.
we're going on to 2025. We're 2 seasons removed from it. So personally, I just want to move on and just try to, enjoy this season. But I know a lot of people are invested, and I know a lot of people want the hammer to come. So
Yeah. Well, if the governor adds, I know I'm late, but Jacob, what are your thoughts on Jim?
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a Michigan fan, I've also personally I've met Jim Harbaugh before, so that was cool too. But I honestly think he is a good person and a good dude. He is very weird. I saw a comment in the chat saying he's really weird and strange, which I do agree with. I think he's just an odd dude in general, and he probably should have had better control over Michigan's whole program. I mean, it's your job as a head coach to know everything that's going on in your program, which was one of his downfalls. If you think he knew about Connor Stallions or what he was doing or the way he was doing it, or if you didn't, it's still his job to know either way.
Right.
But man, I've seen some crazy stuff just posted and said about Jim Harbaugh, but I do think he's a good dude at heart. And obviously really good football coach. But yeah, I like Harbaugh. Most Michigan fans I think do like him, but I will say he needed to have a closer eye on his program because if you look at the stuff with Matt Weiss, all the crazy stuff that Michigan's going through right now, Jim Harbaugh just got named in a lawsuit. Have you been following that stuff or no?
I really have. I've heard about it, but to be honest with you,
Yeah,
Jacob, I have not followed it because I'm just still of the persuasion that nothing is really going to be done. The talking heads above us is all
yeah,
about money and wherever the money is, whether it's hush money or loud talk money or whatever you want to call it, money is going to talk, and everything else has to take a walk. And
yeah.
wherever and I mean, that's how it's going to run. So I know he was in a lawsuit and he's going to be forever in lawsuits. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest with
He got named in the Matt Weiss lawsuit, and basically what Matt Weiss did, he was a assistant coach at Michigan,
you.
and
Right.
he was like hacking into players, or not like students' like private information and maybe viewing like private pictures. It's really unsure exactly everything that he did,
Okay.
but yeah. So some of the victims of that are coming out and trying to sue Jim Harbaugh in Michigan and Ward Manuel for saying that he knew about it and didn't do anything about it
Right.
because Matt Weiss did coach in the TCU playoff game back in 2022 season. It would have been 2023, but Jim Harbaugh allowed him to coach because I think Jim Harbaugh reported it to like the internal investigations team at Michigan and then kind of let them run their course and do their investigation instead of just instantly suspending him, which you can look at that either as he did the right thing to let the process play out or he needed to instantly suspend him. There's different ways to look at it, but yeah, Jim Harbaugh has found himself in some hot water, honestly, with this whole Michigan thing, and I've seen people saying that they think the NFL might punish him too. I don't really see that
Mm.
happening, but um, it has
Uh,
before. I mean, I remember was it Jim Tressel at Ohio State? I think the NFL they came through and followed through on his punishment. So the whole thing is interesting, but yeah, overall, I think Jim Harbaugh is a good person, but yeah, he needed more control over his program. There was
yeah.
so much stuff going on at Michigan, and I've seen so many people in chat say he is a really weird, just odd
Yeah.
dude,
He's
and
he.
that's just really how he is. I mean, from the way he was recruiting, he was doing sleepovers at people's house. I mean, he's just an odd dude.
Right. Yeah. He was odd when he was with the 49ers. Uh,
Yep. and he rubs people the wrong
49ers,
way. Like if you
he
look
was
at
just the oddball.
he kind of wears on people. If you've ever noticed, like everywhere Harbaugh's been after so many years, he gets out of there. I feel like he wears on people. With the
Yeah,
49ers, he had disagreements with their ownership, and then he had disagreements with Ward Manuel at Michigan. And I do believe Jim Harbaugh is a dude that he really does wear people down and grind on people. So he wears out his welcome at places. So we'll see how long he lasts with the Chargers. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, this is football is a business, and if your results are good enough, people are going to put up with you.
yeah. uh, the Ohio State sympathizer Ebony, whose son Noah plays for the University of Alabama, once told me that when uh, Michigan was sort of interested in Noah, her son, uh, Jim Harbaugh just came out the wrong way. Just
Yeah,
came out the
there's
wrong
been
way,
multiple
and that was just totally out.
there's been NFL players like Amon-Ra St. Brown and his brother do a podcast. They're both in the NFL, and they actually have talked about being recruited by Jim Harbaugh and just how weird it was, and they didn't like the vibe of it either, the feeling of it, or he just is so weird, you know. So he definitely put kind of rubs a lot of people the wrong way and gives people just a bad vibe. So from a
Mhm.
recruiting perspective, Michigan is in a much better place now with Sharon Moore. Sharon Moore can really recruit, but we're going to have to see if he can coach as well on the field and develop the same way, because that was what Harbaugh really was about. We would
Yeah,
take like three stars or guys that no one even really knew about or wanted, and we would turn them into great players.
right, right. And Sharon Moore, man, I'm gonna say this, and you already know I'm no big Michigan guy, but I love people. You see what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
not fair for Sharon Moore to be up under this type of scrutiny for something I believe that directly, he really didn't have anything to do with that. This is just my opinion because I don't keep up with it like that. But you can't coach effectively with all this scrutiny over your head. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Ask Mel Tucker at Michigan
Yeah.
State. But Mel Tucker was guilty of what he was being accused of. He was literally guilty. He
Yeah.
did that. He did that. And so I think he let that he had that power thing going in his head and got caught up. But this here's a whole different ball of wax of if you will. So, but Big Dog got it. He says, I just don't like how punishments aren't applied evenly. Tennessee still having to fully recover from the McDonald's bag situation and fully cooperated. Now, once again, like I said, not having a lot of knowledge of all of these different things that go on because I just like watching football.
Yeah,
All of
me
this
too.
other foolishness that goes along with it,
Yeah.
some of this
I'm the
crap is
same
gonna
way.
happen.
I'm the same way as you. If it wasn't my team that was involved in it, I couldn't even really tell you
I'm
all about
telling you,
Tennessee. It does seem like, though, Tennessee has been in quite a bit of trouble with the NCAA.
right? I'm not. I don't keep up with it like that. I'm just being honest. I don't keep up with it like that. I'm sorry. I don't. If it ain't, here we go. If you ain't wearing crimson, y'all figure out the rest. If you ain't wearing crimson, you figure out the rest. I mean, that's just how I see it. Thank you, Nero. It's politics. It's all politics. And
Yeah, that's
like,
a great point of how I was almost going to say, like, that is such a great point on the timeline. You know, you have Ohio State and then you have Michigan on one side, and it's been so, like, polarizing. And I mean, people genuinely believe one way. Like, there's people that believe the biggest hammer in the world is coming. Michigan's going to get blasted into space. And then you have your other people that think nothing's going to happen. So it's really been fascinating and interesting. It really has been like politics, like two sides that just truly believe something and they're never going to change their mind on it. So it's going to be cool to see officially what happens here. I would have to think by middle of August, probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I have to think we're going to get a ruling, and Yeah, I'm hoping for the best for Michigan. Like I said, I'm not really too worried. Like, I don't really think Michigan will get a multiple year bowl ban. That would suck, but we'll see. I could see it being just like a huge fine and like recruiting restrictions, and I don't know. We'll see.
I just don't believe anything is going to happen. I'm just
Oh,
one of
yeah,
them
a lot
guys.
of people say that. A lot of
Blah,
people have been
blah,
saying
blah,
that.
blah, blah, blah. You know,
Josh
here,
Pate pretty much said the same thing on his show. Josh Pate said he pretty much thinks that it's going to be, he just thinks that for the financial interests of the Big Ten and the Fox Media Network, they're going to protect Michigan and they're not really going to let anything happen to them. But we'll see.
I want to say shout out to my girl Bama in 2025. She's on her way to the capstone. Congratulations, Bama 2025. Bama 2025. You need to hit me up today, please. If you're going to the capstone and today, if you're on your way there, please, here we go. I'm gonna put my email address. I don't know who you gonna meet, but I know what you about to do. I know what you
Another
about
really
to do.
good another really good point in the chat said NIL sort of gets in the way of some of them punishments, and yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
I
point
saw that.
too, because with recruiting restrictions, I mean, even if you don't give someone an academic scholarship, if you get your scholarships reduced or whatever, you can make up with that with NIL money.
Uh-huh.
Like example, Bryce Underwood he's making multiple millions of dollars. He doesn't need an academic scholarship.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean,
Now,
so there's ways around it. There's ways around everything now with NIL.
NIL, transfer portal, pay for play, this, that, and the third has muddied up the waters
Yeah.
of everything. And it even includes like what Nero is just saying, man, is clouding up the even with punishments being handed out. Because trust me, Michigan, Michigan State, those two, they're not the only two schools that's having issues right about now. You see what I'm saying? They're just the
Yeah.
schools that's just being more publicized
Did you
about
see
what's going on. But
did you see that thing that
NIL,
happened with Memphis that just came out? There was Memphis just got in trouble with the NCAA for some academic fraud. I think they were having someone take tests for players, or it's a whole big thing, but I think they're gonna get hammered by the NCAA.
and Memphis was turned down last night
Yeah.
for what conference was that?
Big 12.
Big
Yeah.
12. They were turned down. They were denied. See, so a lot of different things are happening in the world of college sports, but because of this Michigan stuff, and then, well, the Michigan stuff, let's leave that right there. But because of different things that's going on within the constructs of the NCAA, a lot of stuff not going to be addressed, Jacob. I'm just going to say it for what it is. A lot of stuff is going to be addressed. I mean, not going to get addressed. My bad.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to just finally see what happens. And like you said, I just like watching football. I just love, nothing better than college football on Saturdays. And I mean, I'm just ready for this whole thing to be over with. And, let's start getting back to talking about football and not the punishment every day.
Exactly. I'm sick of listening to it. And someone said, I hate NIL. I don't dislike NIL. I really don't. If a business wants to promote a player and wants that player to promote their business, I'm all for that. But what I want is that do everything by the book. That's where it gets sticky on both ends of the spectrum, not just the player's perspective, but the business as well, because that's why we're at where we're at as it relates to NIL, because of how some things were done by these businesses, that they did not do these players right. In that was one aspect of it. But then you got a lot of players that's double dipping, this, that, and the third. You got a lot of improprieties going on all over the place, Jacob. See, so it's hard to pinpoint just one area, this area, that area. So I'm not against NIL. I'm for everybody getting what they're supposed to get, but just make sure it's done the right way. Make sure it's done, because at the end of the day, heck, taxes are still taxes. We still live in America. We're being taxed. You need to pay taxes. You need to do what's right. So I'm not against it, the NIL, but just let it be done the right way. And scholarships, 40, 60K is plenty of pay for a player. Yeah, I see which way you're coming
I
from
see
with that.
another interesting comment here from JB. Just got to scroll up a minute. I think it's JB718. He said cheating on a test, bring the hammer, but cheating to win games, nothing would happen. I kind of I get what you're saying, but if you look at mostly all the history of what the NCAA has done, teams that get the huge hammer and vacate wins and all that have ineligible players. And Michigan didn't have a single ineligible player. So teams like Memphis that are cheating to change grades or make players eligible, those are mostly the cases you see where people really get the hammer dropped on them. So I get what you're saying, but you got to look at it from a perspective of if a player is ineligible or if a team has ineligible players, which luckily Michigan didn't have any. So because I've looked at mostly every single case, and I believe that every single case that a win has ever been vacated, it's been in regards to an ineligible player.
Most of the time. I mean, all this, I just wish all the cheating, but it's not going to happen. I wish all of the case with the Sandusky's and the Mel Tuckers and other stuff. That's all this other stuff that's going down. I wish that it would all go away, but that's delusional thinking.
And you remember, even before that, Ohio State had Tattoo Gate, which it wasn't really, in my opinion, wasn't really that bad. I mean, but I'm just saying, I'm just bringing it up because almost every Big Ten school has had some kind of scandal in the last 15 years or so, man. It's like, SEC, I feel like, hasn't had anything that crazy. You guys have had Tennessee, and they've had their knockouts with the NCAA, and they've won a couple of them against the NCAA. But yeah, man, it's the Big Ten. We got to start, just clearing our name here a little bit. I feel like we've had so many scandals.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it from a conference point of view, a lot of people want to say the school, but then you've got to expand to the macro there and everything, go from the micro into the macro and say, well, wait a minute, this is not just a Michigan problem, or this is not just a Michigan State problem. This is a Big Ten problem because, like you said, and I even said it at the start, that the Big Ten has done some stuff within the last 15, 20 years. Those scandals be rocking, man. It changes the whole landscape of college athletics all the way around. Just like the what's his name? Nasser. Remember him?
Yeah, he was at Michigan State too. Yep.
Exact. Big Ten again. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. We need to really just clear our name from all this, and we need to have about 10 years with no scandals or anything. And
shucks.
With the new landscape of college football, I think the Big Ten can compete against the SEC now. You guys definitely have a deeper conference, more depth from top to bottom, but I think at the Big Ten, the top of the Big Ten, I really believe the top of the Big Ten can be just as good as the SEC. But man, we gotta get out of our own way, and we gotta stop doing all this stuff.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line. Just stop. Just stop. So like I said, cheating on the test, bring the hammer, but cheating to win games, nothing will happen. And that's why I said that I just don't believe anything is going to happen, because it's hard. Some of this stuff, some of the allegations are just hard to prove them that this is what happened. Whereas cheating on a test, man, I don't know.
Another good comment here from Big Dogs Gotta Eat. It says, if there's no repercussions against Michigan, there's going to be a line out the door to hire Connor Stallions. And that was kind of my point earlier about the impact it has on games, because what Connor Stallions did is literally allowed at high school level, NFL level. And if you look back at it, the only reason they made in-person scouting illegal in college was because of the financial costs it would be to smaller schools, because smaller schools can't afford to send multiple scouts to every different game across the country. So that's where the NCAA has used the term minimal competitive advantage. So I'm not saying Michigan definitely did break the rule, but the whole thing of, I just get
Yeah.
mostly annoyed when people say it's the only reason that Michigan won, or it like broke the integrity of the game, when this is something that happens at every other level of football.
Yeah. And so Nero also says NCAA is a tyrannical organization and they cannot stand when a school pushes against the grain. But the thing about it is, though, Nero, the NCAA has been handcuffed in a lot of areas too, where they can't, where people are pushing back. But the NCAA really can't do anything, because I think for one, they've allowed too much stuff to go on way before all of this even came up. Am I making sense, Jacob?
Yeah, you're making sense to me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just was
they've allowed too
following.
much to go on even before all of this in the era of what we are now. So the NCAA has more or less, y'all said it in the chat earlier about how money, I think it was JB was talking about, it's all about money. It's all about politics, this, that, and the third. So this has been going on. And so now that is being highlighted, and Michigan has beaten Ohio State 4 straight years, beating Alabama twice in the same year and everything. And, you know, so yes, Stephen, cheating is cheating. But, bruh, if you cannot prove it, is it really cheating? So when is it cheating, and when is it that a team just has your number? Now, if we gonna say cheating and everything, then prove it. Where's the substantial proof? That's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that what has happened over the time is that there has not, when it comes down to what Dave B was saying. I'm going back to that statement. Hold on, let me find it right quick. Where JB made the statement. We were just talking about it. This chat is moving, man. Blah, blah,
Yeah, it is.
blah.
I've been trying to
Here we
keep
go.
up with it too. But the
Man,
whole
it's
thing is
rolling
just,
over here.
the whole thing with
Just
Stallions is just so weird. I mean, it's so, like I said, I'm pretty much, I'll say, if you want to say Michigan cheated, that's fine or whatever. I more argue about the point of just how really important or big of a deal it was. That's the angle I usually care about more. Because if you think
Uh-huh.
about it, what he did was he had people go to the games, like friends and family, and they would just hold up their phone just like this at the sideline and record the signs, and then they would send them to him or whatever, and he would steal the signs. I'm just like, anybody could do that. Anybody, I could go to a Michigan game and I could do the same thing, and then I could post it on Twitter and tag Sharon Moore, and then he could have their signs. You know what I mean? It's just like, to me, it's just so, like, people really think that someone in the stands with an iPhone recording the signs is like why Michigan won. I don't know. It's just so weird to me.
But like what JB said right here, cheating on a test brings the hammer. Now you're dealing academics. You see what I'm saying? But I'm just using that little line right there, JB. Cheating on the test will bring the hammer, but cheating to win games. That cheating on the test part, that thing has been going on. But the NCAA as a whole did not put rules in place for everybody across the board, that if this happens, to make things stick, that if when we get this happening, you report it, blah, 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 you're going on probation. We're not going to have that. The NCAA has not been consistent in dishing out punishment to everybody,
Right.
because all
Right.
schools do it. All schools do that, cheating on the test.
Man,
Because, go ahead, Jake.
I'm just saying, I agree with you. I've been trying to say that, and I saw Amber made a funny comment. Not really funny, but she said it's in the handbook as a violation, no advanced scouting. And yeah, like I said, I agree with that. I'm more just talking about how much it really impacted the game. That's the only part that really annoys me, is people try to say that's the only reason Michigan won. I mean, Michigan had a lot of good players on that 2023 team. They probably had the best coaching staff with Jesse Minter and Jim Harbaugh, and we probably had the best staff. We had a lot of veteran players, a lot of 4th and 5th year players, great culture. I mean, that's the only part that really, you can't say that that's the only reason Michigan won. If you want to say Stallions did break a rule or break some rules, but I don't think it had that big of an impact. Because like I said, when Stallions was released by Michigan, we still ran the table and went 8-0.
Well, I'm gonna say the shout out to Beat Sharpshooter Sports Talk, man. I'm not ignoring you. Chat just moving fast, and I scroll back up, and I say, oh, that go my dude, that go my little brother, Be Sharp. That if you have not listen, if you're in the chat and you've never subscribed to any of our channels and everything, and I'm gonna give Jacob a chance here in just a minute to promote his channel and everything. If you have not hit the subscribe button to any of these channels, please do so. Subscribe to these channels. Man, we need you. We love you, and we love doing the content and presenting it to you, but we would love your support as well. But that's the part that cheating on the test brings the hammer and everything. And like I said, they've been doing it, JB, but the problem is no consistency. That's my problem with it all.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
Consistency. They have their picks and chooses, and then by the second token is that some of these schools don't report it when it happens either. And then what ends up happening is it has been going on. They sweep it under the rug. We won't do it again. We're gonna let you slide this time. And then something major happens. They trip over the rug, over all that dust and everything that you piled up, and you've tripped over the rug. You're going to look up under the rug, and there are all these scandals going on. And then the NCAA comes in from something that has been going on for years. And now you're trying to handle it, and Pandora's box is open, and all the little minions have gotten out, and now everybody's trying to play hide and go seek. So it's rough right now.
I see some people saying, do you think that anything would happen if this was Bama instead of Michigan? I think the same thing. Bama is a blue blood and a big program in football, just like Michigan. So I don't think Bama would get a hammer either. I don't know if that's what some people in the chat are saying. Maybe it would be different if it was Alabama instead of Michigan, but I don't think the NCAA would do much to Alabama either. I mean, they're going to protect their blue bloods and their money makers at the end of the day.
New England Patriots went through this identical problem. We're talking about Spygate. I've always had a problem with them little cameras running up and down that string wire anyway.
Yeah.
I've always had a problem with that. And I see that at everybody's camp. I've always had a problem with that. You know, I don't know. But the New England Patriots deal, I ain't no big New England Patriots fan anyway. And everybody knows how I feel about Tom Brady being listed as the GOAT. No, he's not. I'm gonna leave it like that and everything. But we're gonna see. We will see. Let's see. Scrolling on down. Wait a minute. Amber says something. Now explain this one right here. Amber said, what about Blake Corum?
Yeah, so she's saying that she thinks Blake Corum might get deemed ineligible, which I personally don't think is going to happen, or I would be just floored because he had a LLC. He had a business with Connor Stallions outside of football. He had a vacuum cleaning business, I guess it was. And like I said, I'm not trying to act like an expert here. I haven't looked into like the technicalities of how that works with the NCAA or whatever, but no one's ever brought it up. No one's ever said Blake Corum's ineligible. So, I mean, I think we would have heard something about that by now.
Yeah, and that's exactly, JB. And that's why, let me say something, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm just going to speak this from Piano Man's perspective. I don't keep up with this stuff like this because if it ain't got nothing to do with the X's and the O's and the Jimmys and the Joes on the football field, I could care less because it's just like the government. They're gonna pick and choose. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that. They're gonna do the other. And lots of times things just don't get done. Okay, so forgive Piano Man if he sounds like He don't know what he's talking about. 9 times out of 10, I don't, because I could care less. I mean, if I'm gonna say it one more time, if they ain't wearing crimson, if it ain't got nothing to do with the Crimson Tide, y'all know the rest of the story. You know how that sentence ends with me. I ain't worried about it, because at the end of the day, the NCAA is going to do what they want to do, say what they want to say, feel how they want to feel. If they're going to do something, fine. If they're not, then life goes on. You know, it is what it is. So it's wishy-washy. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And all I know is I'm done with it. I'm done with it, Jacob. 39 days, we rolling. The Tide rolling. Yep. FSU, you first. It is what it is.
I can't wait for week 1. That's going to be a lot of good games. Like I said, we got Ohio State and Texas. That could be number 1 versus number 2. It could. There's a high chance. Those are both going to be top 5 teams either way. So that's going to be awesome to kick off the season. And then I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do to Florida State. They've been talking a lot of smack after a 2-win season. I've never seen anyone talking so crazy after a 2-win season before. So that's going to be fun to see just what you guys do to them. And then LSU and Clemson should be a really good game too.
That's going to be a good one. I got to address this foolishness right here. Okay. I said this, Jacob. Now you forgive me. I know we got a lot of Tom Brady fans and everything, but I'm just of the firm persuasion. I don't care that Tom Brady went to 10 Super Bowls. He didn't win 10. He lost 3. 2 of them was to Eli, and the other was to Nick Foles. How does that make you the GOAT? Michael Jordan didn't lose. Joe Montana didn't lose. Terry Bradshaw didn't lose.
I guess it just depends if you value like never losing or having more wins, because I mean, Tom Brady has more Super Bowl wins than anybody else, but you're right. He did lose a couple. So I guess it just depends on what you value more.
I value losses.
Yeah.
I value losses. He lost. Montana didn't. Bradshaw didn't. If you go look at the percentage, yeah, I got you. See, that's the reason why I don't like starting this, Jacob, because watch this. Look at the governor. Wait, look at the governor. Watch what the governor says.
There's always crazy opinions or whatever in NFL. Like, I mean, last night we were talking to a guy and he was trying to say like Jalen Hurts was, I think he said, the second best quarterback in the NFL. And I'm just like, there's no way that you believe that. Like, Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but he's not top 2 in the NFL. But people have their strong opinions, and, it's hard to change people's minds.
So how's Nick Saban the GOAT? Because we said he the GOAT. That's why.
I guess that's true. If he's using your guy, some of that logic, Nick Saban lost a couple championships. So
yeah, but we said he the GOAT because he from Alabama. You don't like them. Wait a minute, B. Sharp. You don't like the New England Patriots. You don't. You're a Washington Commanders fan. Quit playing.
They're talking about Tom Brady compared to Peyton Manning. You got to go. I would go Tom Brady there. I could give you guys a really hot take, though. I think Patrick Mahomes has probably already passed Peyton Manning as an all-time quarterback. You could probably put Mahomes as probably a top 3 quarterback of all time.
I'm going to say this. I'm not a big pro guy anymore. All I know is this right here. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers guy. Say what?
I said I knew I would get hate for that. Someone said, you're crazy, but that's funny. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. I saw it. Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah, Peyton Manning was obviously a different type of quarterback. Pocket passers are becoming more and more rare in the NFL. True pocket passers, like you have Jared Goff, you have Matt Stafford, but it's becoming more of a dying thing in the NFL. Most people nowadays are dual threat, or at least can move a little bit. You don't have many guys like Tom Brady anymore or Peyton Manning that are just statues in the pocket.
And he's still, man. See, that's why I don't get off into that. All I know is this, Jacob. All I know is this. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers guy. I love Terry Bradshaw. He went 4-0, B Sharp, 4-0 when he went to the Super Bowl. No, he may not have all the numbers like the Brady's and the Manners, but he didn't lose Super Bowls. He didn't lose them. So he, that's that. Tom Brady, well, anyway, it is what it is. Y'all gonna say Brady. I'm gonna say Montana, all that good stuff. Montana never lost a Super Bowl. Bradshaw didn't lose Super Bowls. Michael Jordan didn't lose championships. All that good stuff. So those are my GOATs right there. And Nick Saban is the GOAT because I said he's the GOAT. He's from Alabama.
Yeah,
That's
Nick Saban is definitely the GOAT of college football. I would agree with you there.
Win, lose, or draw. I don't care. Nick Saban is the GOAT because we said he's the GOAT. Now, the Brady ain't the GOAT because I said he ain't the GOAT. Now, he can be the GOAT to you, and that's fine and dandy. But just remember now, when it comes down to Super Bowls, he didn't win them all. He lost 3.
True.
Okay, Jacob AA has a question for you. Here, wait a minute. Here we go. All right, here. There you go. Jacob, what's your opinion on Bama this season?
Yeah, so just from a fundamental standpoint, I usually view Alabama just like Ohio State. You guys are always going to have talent. In my whole life, I've never seen a time where Alabama didn't have talent. You guys always have 5 stars. You guys always have, great players. I think it's just going to mostly come down to your quarterback. I don't know, obviously, as much about Alabama football as you guys, but it's going to be your quarterback. From what I know, he's unproven, and that's always scary. It doesn't mean he's not going to be good, but that's going to be. It's obviously pretty much impossible to win anything nowadays without a good quarterback play. It's just so hard to do. So it's going to come down to your quarterback, and then I think it's going to just come down to how your team gels together and your culture. It seemed like last year under DeBoer, maybe there was like a little bit of cracks in the culture. Like you just saw stuff that you would never see under Nick Saban. Like I remember, was it Malachi Moore? Malachi Moore had like that crash out and just some things that you would never see under Nick Saban, I feel like. So I think it's just going to be more about it's just going to be if you guys can gel your team together, and I think it's mostly going to be about how good your quarterback is.
Okay.
But if what's his name? Ty Simpson. If Ty Simpson is as good as you guys think he is, then I think you guys could be right there in the national title mix because you guys have the blue chip ratio and you guys have the talent on your roster to do it. So I think if you guys find the right quarterback this year, I think you guys will be fine. Stephen Hicks, I see your comment. Yeah, I think you guys will be fine. Like I said, Ty Simpson, the same category as Arch Manning. At least I've seen Arch Manning play a little bit, but yeah, most guys are both unproven, I would say. I am admitting that I don't know much about Ty Simpson. Has he even started a game for you guys before ever? Like when someone was hurt or something? But if he's as good as advertised in the way that people are talking about, then you guys should be fine, I think. You guys always will have talent. Never seen enough Alabama games. That's true. I watch the big Alabama games like Georgia and LSU and stuff, but I don't watch every single Alabama game. But I think it will be hard to maintain the same culture as Nick Saban. I think that's just a given. Highly touted recruit and has sat and learned. No way he's gotten worse. That makes sense to me. Like I said, I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm just saying I don't know. Same thing with Julie. Prove it to me. Knows the system. Yeah, and even if he could be just a solid game manager, every quarterback's not going to be Joe Burrow in 2019. You can win with guys that know the system and can take care of the football. You can win with guys like that. So as long as Ty Simpson doesn't turn over the ball, makes the plays that he needs to make, and is efficient and good on third down and stuff, then he will be good. Personally, I didn't even think Jalen Milroe was that. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I think a lot of Alabama fans were really hard on Milroe, overly hard on Milroe. Amber says Ty Simpson is playing for the brand and loves Alabama. Those are always guys that you want. Yes, I agree. Always good to have kids that grew up wanting to play for that team and not just there for the money. Manning's last name is what puts him over everyone. I do agree. He does get a lot of hype because of his last name, but to me, he still has to prove it. I'm going to be honest. I do think he's going to be really good, but he still has a lot to prove, obviously. He hasn't played against that many hard teams. He played against, what was it, UL Monroe, or who was it, Louisiana or something last year? It's always scary breaking in a new quarterback in the SEC. I agree with you there. It's very hard. Luckily, you guys, I'm not going to say you have an easy schedule to start off, but Florida State, you guys should just beat them on talent alone. It would be absolutely shocking if you guys lost to Florida State, and then you guys have someone easy, I feel like, and then Wisconsin, and that's another game that you guys should just win on talent alone. So you guys should have time, which is good. Time is good to break in a new quarterback. Michigan does not have time. We play Oklahoma week 2 on the road. Ty Simpson, learn the name. Okay, I'm looking forward to it this year. I feel like Alabama and Georgia are both in similar spots just in terms of unknown quarterbacks, which well, Gunnar Stockton played obviously a little bit last year, but he didn't impress me that much, so I need to see more from him too. If you lose to Florida State, we're in an uproar. Yeah, I could see that being a crash out. You played Georgia early in the season on the road, but isn't that like week 4 or week 5 though? Saying at least Ty Simpson will have about 3 games under his belt, at least to, he's not going to be thrown to the dogs right away. Florida State you guys should beat Florida State just on pure talent alone. That's not an equal talent matchup. Ty Simpson, dang, everybody, you guys are all so high on Ty Simpson, man. He's going to freaking be a dark horse Heisman or something. I've seen so many people talking about Ty Simpson. Week 4, calling in another funeral game. Okay, week 4. So at least Ty Simpson will have 3 games, and 2 of the 3 will be against Power 4 opponents, Wisconsin and Florida State. So that's good. He was a 5-star recruit. My only question is, I've said this before, but I don't understand. If he was so good, then why did he not start over Milroe? Because most of your guys' fan base hates Milroe, which is the only weird thing to me. But I believe he will be pretty good. Simpson has been giving Alabama's defense more issues in practice than Milroe did. Then, like I said, why did Milroe start? Like I said, I don't think Milroe was that bad as many of you guys made him out to be. He obviously had his issues as a passer and stuff like that, but he was a guy that I think he was a good. I compare Milroe to JT Barrett. If you guys remember JT Barrett at Ohio State, not the greatest passer, but a super good leader, a dude that was tough and could run the ball, and you can win with guys like that. So I always did like Jalen Milroe. He seemed like a good dude. More experience is why he started. That makes sense, I guess. But if he's not better, I don't think that really makes sense. Extra ability that Ty Simpson didn't have. Okay, that makes sense. So is Ty Simpson a guy that can scramble like Milroe or no? I don't know anything about him. Is he a pocket passer or is he a dual threat? JB says Austin Mack. I was high on Austin Mack when he was at Washington with DeBoer. I think Austin Mack has a lot of talent, but the problem that I see for Austin Mack is that he's sandwiched in between Simpson, who looks like he's going to start, and Keelan Russell. So that's a scary spot to be if you're Austin Mack, because there's an older guy that's better than you, Simpson, and then there's a younger guy that has more talent than you. So I don't know what the future is for Austin Mack, but I did like Austin Mack. Milroe was limited, but an awesome athlete. Yeah, he, like I said, he reminded me a lot of JT Barrett, if you guys remember him from Ohio State. Great leader, passion, fire, just a guy that you can win with, that the locker room likes. Not the greatest passer in the world, but you can win with guys like that. Tough, a really tough dude, a guy that all the teammates like. Piano Man, I can see your chat. I don't know if your internet died or what, but I'm trying to hold it down here for you. Politics was why Milroe stayed our starter. That makes sense too. It was a new coach. I totally understand that. New coach, so he didn't want to rock the boat and bench the starter from the previous season. Offensive line was poor the last few years. Milroe could take a beating, that's for sure. He was a really tough dude. I'll give him that. Do you guys think that Milroe is going to do anything in the NFL with the Seahawks, or do you guys think he's just not good enough? Yeah, Piano Man, we can't see you on the screen, but we could see your text in the chat. Backup quarterback in the NFL, Amber says they'll use him. I think they'll probably use him in certain packages because Milroe is a guy that's athleticism, even no matter if you used him as a wildcat or if you used him at different ways, just get the ball in his hands and he's an athlete. He's not a guy that can pass the ball good enough, I don't think, in the NFL level, but he's a guy that I do think his athleticism will translate to the NFL in some regard. If we can improve on opening the gaps for the running backs, we'll be good. Yep, that's always huge. That's huge. If you have a new quarterback and if he can rely on the running game and the defense to take pressure off him, that's huge. That's exactly kind of what Michigan's looking to do. If you have a dominant running game and a good defense and everything, it just takes so much pressure off your quarterback. Milroe will do well. I could see that. Milroe's way better than JT Barrett. Yeah, probably. He's probably a better. That's close though. Do you think that's close? Who's a better passer? I'm just saying they reminded me of each other in player comps, just the way they were both really good leaders and really tough guys. Okay, Amber, settle down. She said 2020 vibes from the 2025 team. That 2020 team was one of the best teams of all time. That's crazy to say, but if the Seahawks O-line is good, Milroe will do good. Yeah, it obviously helps having a good offensive line. He is going to be backing up Sam Darnold, but you never know. Sam Darnold has had some injuries in his career, so Milroe's really one play away from being the starter. I imagine he's backup. I don't think he's third string.
Thank you.